Alright, my lovelies, today we're going to talk about something that I've been asked questions about so many times, and that is, how do you keep your pages from sticking together? Oh, I'm going to get my hands off the table because the computer's wobbling. I'm sorry about that. The screen's broken, so it doesn't stay very well, so it wobbles a lot. Oh, I have a puppy. Hi, puppy. Come here. This is my puppy. Say hi. Say hi. Okay. He's very curious as to what I'm doing because I'm actually downstairs for once. But we're going to talk about sticky pages. And we've all had that experience where we're working in our journal and we do all this great stuff on the page and we're painting and having fun, and then all of a sudden we let it dry, hopefully, and we close. Now he's rocking this computer. And we close the book, and when we open it again, it is sticky. And you have to kind of peel the pages apart, and no one has fun with that. When I first started journaling, I used watercolors, and that was just kind of what my mother used. She's a huge watercolor nut. You can see this is her picture. She's a Monet fanatic. And I got a set of hard-bodied acrylic paints for Christmas that year, and those are the paints that are going to come in tubes like this. Okay, they come in tubes like this. They come out kind of thicker. They're going to have the same consistency as the gel medium if you're using gel medium as your glue. And I was really excited because I had read all this stuff about acrylics and how everybody loved them. So I painted a page in my journal, and at that time I was using a large lined moleskin A, or however you say it. And I painted, and then I closed the book, and then when I went to open it, there was that peeling sound that we all know, where it's like, oh, I don't like this, I don't want my pages to stick together, and it was like if the facing page had acrylics on it, it would just be a mess, and I was like, I don't want to deal with this, so I didn't use acrylics for a long time. And then I started using fluid acrylics because there was an artist that I really liked, who no longer blogs, which is really sad because she was really good, but she was talking about her pages and how she used fluid acrylics, and I was like, okay, I'll try that and see how it works, and then my pages didn't stick together. And what I've figured out is that your pages are sticky when you're using something that is more glossy, when you're using Collage Podge or the heavy body acrylics, or, what puppy? You want to be on camera again? Yeah? Okay, come on. Okay. He's going to sit on my lap while I talk. Okay. Alright, how's that? Okay, so it's going to be, you know, anything that's shiny that you use on your page. If you use a sealer, if you use gloss, your gel medium is a gloss, you know, those kind of things are what is going to cause your pages to stick together. And I use spray paint a lot. Spray paint sticks together like no tomorrow, and there's really nothing you can do. So I've got some, he's going to go play with his sister. I've got some tips and tricks that I've learned just through experimenting myself or from other journalers. So the first one is you need to let your pages dry. Leave your journal open. I usually give them like 2 hours. I'll do a page and then I'll go do something else, and I'll let it stay open and dry. Sometimes I even leave them open overnight. Puppy, stop going on the table. He's trying to figure out who I'm talking to, because there's no one else in the house. And he's like, who's she talking to? Who's she talking to? What's going on up there? You gotta stop it. You're gonna make the screen all wobbly, sweetie. And his sister is over by the door going, I'm not having anything to do with this. She's the older one, of course. So anyway, you need to let your pages dry. When I spray paint, as I said, spray paint sticks together a lot. I leave them open overnight to dry, and sometimes that helps. There's still gonna be a little bit of stickiness, but it's better than if you just close the book and let it dry. Now, when I use gesso, I don't like warply, wobbly pages. So what I do is I gesso both pages, and then I use, it's that non-stick, not freezer paper, it's like the non-stick paper. I mean, if you've cooked, you know, it's the non-stick stuff that you put down, not the foil or anything. So I have a sheet of it. I can't find my roll of it, so I have a sheet of it, and it's just this kind of paper that's kind of see-through, and you can see all the wrinkles and gesso on it, and I put this between the pages, and then I close the book and I put something heavy on it. Usually my big, huge, I have a huge jar of gesso because I go through it so fast. It's like the value gesso that I got from Hobby Lobby for $7 for like this huge gallon, because I use it so much. I mean, because I use it in my journal all the time. So I do that, and I let that go for about an hour. Oh, sorry. I let that go for about an hour, and then I open it up and it's dry. It doesn't stick to this paper at all, so it just opens right up and the pages are flat. The fun thing is that if you keep using the same piece over and over like me, because your studio is in transition, because you're packing stuff and weeding stuff out because you have 3 months to move, you're going to have this texture on it from the wrinkles from all the previous times, and it's kind of cool. I like the texture. So that is one thing you need to do. I have some products here that people usually use. One of them is I have Collage Podge by Tracy Bautista. I love this stuff. It's amazing. I have the glossy and I have the sparkles. One reason I like it is because I had a painting that I had done and I used the sparkles in the background, and the painting was kind of like setting on the floor and by my bed because I had been doing pencil work on it, and I spilled pop and it went all over this painting, and I was like, oh no, there goes the whole painting. But what's cool is this is water resistant, so it seals it and it just went right off. So whenever I'm working like the cover of my journal that I have all the stickers on right now, I used this to go over it, and it's nice. But the thing is it's a glossy, which means that if I use this in my journal, it is going to stick. Anything that's glossy or shiny is going to stick. So when you have Mod Podge and stuff like that, this is going to stick if you go over whatever you're using or whenever it's showing on the page. So what you want to do is, this isn't golden, but it's still gel medium. It's a semi-gloss that I use, and which means that it still has some of the glossy properties, but it's not as shiny. And I used to use matte, and I didn't like it because it would, like, you could see your fingerprints in it and it would kind of dirty. I didn't like that at all, but I didn't want to use the gloss, obviously, because I go over stuff a lot in my journal. So now I just use the semi-gloss. It doesn't stick, and it still gives you a little bit of that shine without making it too sticky. The thing with the hard-body acrylics is you can use them in your journal. I use this white a lot because it makes it completely opaque, whatever I'm using. But you have to remember to add water to it. Not too much water, kind of experiment with it, but if you don't have enough water with it, that's what's going to make it thick, harder to spread on your page, and sticky in the end. So if you're going to be using those kind of paints, you have to remember to be generous with the water, not too much that it looks like a watercolor and it breaks it down, but just enough that it's flowing on the page easier. The dogs are over here playing, of course, looking out the windows. But so it'll still go on opaque and it'll go on smoother, but if you're generous with your water, you're not holding back, and you're making sure that, you know, after, you know, every like a minute, I would say, if you're painting, you know, get your brush wet again and then blot it off in the paper towel, and then you'll be fine. It won't stick as much. Another trick that I've learned is if you spread gesso over your page with the water, it won't stick. But the thing is that if you don't let your layers dry enough, it's gonna, you know, smudge everything, and everything's gonna get all on each other, and you don't want that. So, like I said, be generous with the water. If you're using these kind of acrylics, they won't stick because they have a lot of water in them already, and they're matte, which means they don't have the glossy properties, and they won't stick. Now, I do use some of the glossy ones. There's the line of, I use Apple Barrel, and they have the glossies. Those you need to use a little bit of water on. But those are more like a glaze that you would layer, actually. And I found that these Craft Smart paints are more thin, so they're like a glaze that you would layer. The paints that I use are the Golden Fluid acrylics. These are a lot of fun. They're kind of like watercolors for acrylic paint users. You know, I was using, oh gosh, I only have like 50 seconds left. Okay. They're the kind of acrylics that you can use like watercolor effects with, and because of that, they don't have the thicker body and they won't stick. And last but not least, if you're collaging something and you won't be painting over it, if you're just collaging papers, double-sided tape. This is the kind I use. It's the permanent. I have put together journals with this tape. It is really, really strong, and if you won't be painting over something, just use a double-sided tape around the edges and you're fine. So you can use, you know, glossies and stuff, whatever on the bottom, but if you're going to be putting papers over them, just use the double-sided tape. Don't use gel medium, don't use your Mod Podge. Just use this so you won't have to worry about your pages sticking together. So I hope that has answered all of your questions that you have. Remember, be generous with your water. Let your pages dry all the way. If you have to close the book, use this nonstick paper that will go between that, and that will kind of help, and it'll take away some of that stickiness that's on top. You can get gesso on top. I've gone over 10 minutes. God, I'm going to have to cut something. Use double-sided tape on the top if you're just collaging papers, and that should really help keep your pages from sticking together. Alright? So, go have fun and journal and enjoy your weekend. It's Friday, of course. I will be at work, but if you're in the area and you need coffee, I will be there. Alright, have a great day, guys.